Hi, I'm Albert Pasaoa, and this is the 635 podcast. The 635 podcast is about local politics, economics, and social and cultural issues in the Alvin Community College area. The views expressed on the show are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of Alvin Community College. Okay, we're on the podcast, and I'm here back with Ron Smith. How you doing?
Good, man. Real good. Good to be back, man. Excited.
All right. So we got three stories to talk about today, and let's see. The first one. Okay, so I've heard about all these stories just very briefly, but I did not dive into them. So let's figure out, what is this first story about? Prosecutors seek to charge teen as adult in hit and run death of retired police officer. What's going on there?
So it was two teens. Now they're 18 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They stole a Hyundai car. This was in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
All right. They recorded themselves on social media hitting and running one car, and then they ran over a biker, bicyclist. Come to find out, he was a retired police officer. All right. I think one of the biggest things on social media was when this happened maybe like August or something like that, and it kind of came out on social media, is that the Las Vegas news made it seem like that it was just like a regular accident, when the social media was out there showing that they intentionally ran over this guy, and the video is horrific.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, they videoed. It's like how some of these people live stream themselves shooting people. It was one of those aspects, and they're in the car swerving, and next thing you know, he was like, get him, and then they just run him over from the back. He flips over the car and on the ground, and you hear him on the social media on the video saying he's knocked out, and then they're laughing. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked about this. Where are the parents at, really? Right? So they were 17 and 16 then. Now one of them turned 18, and they want to charge one of them as an adult. So it's just horrific, man. And people are asking questions about, how did this happen? You know?
So how many kids? 3 kids?
It was 2 kids, two males. All right. At the time, one of them was 17, and the other one was 16. All right. They stole a car. This is all on video. They're recording themselves on video doing this, which is ridiculous. They hit one car, sideswiped them off the road, and then they pulled up right behind the bicyclist. His name is Andreas Probst, and you see them. He's just biking on the side. Just in the morning on your way to commute, how many of these, and they're just biking. They pull up behind him and just ram him from the back, and he flips over. I mean, it's one of the worst videos I've seen.
So wait, was this car stolen?
It was a stolen car.
So they steal a car, and then they decide to go joyriding, and then let's hit this guy. Is that what they were doing?
As simple as that. Yes, I mean, it was premeditated murder. You're basically recording yourself murdering somebody. All right, and we see this all the time. A lot of times when you see people streaming themselves shooting people, I've seen stuff like that. But you still can go online and see this video. But I'm not for censorship per se, but it's kind of crazy when it has something to do with shootings, like the social media companies will pull it down right away when they kill somebody. But this, you can still see it or not. It's just sad, man.
So somebody recorded this, and then what did they upload it to?
I don't know specifically what social media site they were on particularly. I just know that it was uploaded to a social media site. That's what the news said. Now, I don't know exactly what forum they were using, but it's interesting as well because according to the police, they had just did a hit and run. So they possibly are associated with other hit and runs prior to this day.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, this is vigilante type of stuff, right? It's kind of infuriating because it's like, man, you ask these questions like, how can they do this? Where are the parents at? How come nobody's made a bigger deal of this, particularly when it first happened? The news tried to make it, particularly Las Vegas news, tried to make it seem like that, it's just a regular accident. No, these are, young people out there acting a fool, and it was unsettling for sure.
And so it was the person who got ran over. Who was he?
He was a retired police officer, former chief of Bell, California Police Department, and his name was Andreas Probst. And it says that basically he said he died after he was hit by a car while biking. and this is in August 14th in Las Vegas. So I mean, just think, I run in the morning. Like, it's times I'll run. This is like, you're just, you say you keep in shape. You're a jiu-jitsu guy. Say like you're trying to keep in shape, and then you just all of a sudden you can't even bike outside. I mean, it's just, I don't want to like be hyperbolic, but it's very unsettling when you have young people doing these crazy acts. Now, this is just from my perspective or whatever, but some of the arguments are, it's like, hey, these are young African American and Latino kids, right? So perhaps it wasn't a big deal made over there first, but when the video came out, then that's when the outrage happened. So, like, the outrage because they videotaped it. What was? I mean, if you haven't, when we finish, when you get a chance to see this video, Albert, it's infuriating because I mean, you're basically just killing people for fun. You're driving in a stolen car, and then you say, hey, look at this guy or whatever, and he's just biking like a regular person. He doesn't even see. I mean, you tell he can't even really see what's going on. The gentleman that got killed, and they just ram him from the back like it's nothing, and it's like a movie. What blows my mind is that okay, so they're thinking, we're gonna do this, and then we're going to post it on social media, and then we're not going to get in trouble? Like, what do you think? I know this sounds kind of crazy, but what do you think was going through the minds of them? I mean, obviously it's bad they're going to hurt somebody, and then record it and then post it on social media. Like, what leads somebody to do that? Albert, I teach sociology, and I'm not a psychologist, but we kind of get into remedies. I've seen other videos, and maybe I need to get off of social media, but I do it for purposes. I just recently saw a video where two teens, they had like a machine gun, like a little, it looked like a pellet gun, but they video recorded themselves shooting people. This one, but what goes in their mind, and I want to be fair, their brains are not fully developed. This is one aspect. So their impulsivity and, decision making is off, just like other kids that may speed in a car or whatever, or, do certain things like that. But at the same time, right from wrong, killing somebody or doing something crazy like that, you don't think that they could be injured severely. So that part of me is like, hey, man, you know what you were doing. You were just trying to, and we live in a video obsessed, social media obsessed society, doing things to get recognition and to get likes and to get people to look at you, just like what happened in Philadelphia. It kind of corresponds with this. Recently it was like over like a judge getting somebody off, but Philadelphia recently, they were video recording them looting the stores downtown. I don't know if you saw this. No. And there's a young lady named Meatball. She's allegedly a viral sensation. She was video recording herself, telling them to come down here, this black woman, come down here, and so they were looting and videotaping crimes. So to answer your question, really just for the clout, just to say, look at me, hey, you would think it's like ridiculous to do that, but that happens. Yeah. I mean, it's more of it's a reflection of what they think their friends think are cool. Like, whoever it is, they're trying to impress. They're trying to impress somebody, and in their mind, maybe it's that sort of subculture. They think, well, yeah, their people will think I'm cool for this. This is. I mean, you don't think that we're gentlemen. Me and you, we're educated. We're in academia, but what would drive somebody to literally kill somebody for likes or whatnot, for clout? Do you think they knew they were? I don't know how fast they were going and how hard. I mean, do you think there's a chance that they just say, hey, because a lot of people don't understand, the consequences. They may think they're driving slow, and they don't realize that. I don't know how fast he was hit, but maybe they thought, haha, we're gonna bump him. He's just gonna fall off, and that's a possibility for sure. I can't get into the minds of these people. I'm not Criminal Minds, the TV show, but I could see that where they just like, hey, we're just gonna bump him a little bit. Yeah. And, haha, he gets some scrapes and bumps. But when I saw the video, I can't tell how fast they were going, but it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going like 5 miles an hour. Even 5 miles an hour, you hit somebody from the back on a bike when they're biking. That's pretty tough. But I could see that too. Like, hey, we're just gonna kind of clown around with them a little bit. We're not gonna actually
So you saw the video?
I saw the video. Yes, I watched it several times, many times.
Now, I guess it's good that we're probably not showing it, but did they hit him with the car, or did he just did they end up running him over, or
no? So all right, he's biking. All right, you're gonna watch this video. You're gonna watch this.
I could get into a reaction video.
This is gonna be a viral episode. So you're on a bike, like they literally go up on him. He hit him in the back, and then next thing he hits the windshield.
Oh wow!
Hits the roof and rolls off in the back into the distance.
Okay.
And then he's videotaping in the back. You can see him in the back land on the ground, and the kid says, "Oh my gosh, he's knocked it out," or something to that nature. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If the guy's going over your hood, that's pretty fast.
The windshield busts, it shatters.
Whoa. Yeah. Okay.
But it's a stolen vehicle, so who cares, right? That's their thinking, I'm assuming.
Well, that's really I imagined it more of, they sort of sideswipe or bump him, and then he kind of hits the pavement or something.
No, they sideswiped the car before they hit him. So this is they're driving when you see it, and he's like, "Get out the effing way," and he sideswipes one car off the road, and then he sees the bike person. He's like, "Hey, let's get him. Here he is, right here." And then, all right, come on. And then and next thing you know, and they just hit him from the back. He flips on the windshield, flips on the roof, and then he's knocked out on the ground.
Now that you put this into context, it's well, okay. So now I'm thinking, all right, were these guys totally high or drunk or something? I mean, that sounds like some type of drug-induced rampage.
For sure. That's a good point. For sure, that's a really good point.
I don't know if that would be a defense in court. Your Honor, we were on some crazy drugs. We had no idea what it would do to us.
No, that's for sure. When I was reading another article about this, I think it was the New York Post. According to the police or whatnot, when they were doing a booking, one of the guys said something to the effect that, "Oh, well, I'm a minor or whatever, so I'll be out soon," something to that nature. Yeah, but they're still in custody right now. So
I see.
Because there's so much outrage. So if there was no videotape, then the police said they saw the videotape, but if it wasn't no videotape, who knows what would have transpired? But he was like, "Oh, I'm a minor. I'll be out shortly." Something to that nature. Yeah.
I really do wonder what site it was on, whether it was on. There's a huge difference, Instagram versus Reddit. You find some place where basically strangers, are you posting to come to strangers who, because there are sites where they say, "Hey, look at this crazy stuff." Were they trying to impress strangers, or are they trying to impress their friends, on their personal social media account?
That I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't Reddit for sure. But I don't know if it was Facebook / Meta, Instagram. I doubt it was X. I don't know about demographics for those youngers, but.
Twitter is if you really want to get it out there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm keeping my eyes on this because I want to see. Some people are arguing they probably get a slap on the wrist, but they're still being held. So we'll see. And when you see the mugshots of these two, it's just
they're still held. So that was about, 2 weeks ago?
That was August 14th, and then some things came out. This article here is September 19th, but it's been updating consistently. Mm-hmm. At first they wouldn't. In this article right here that we have, they didn't identify them, but now when you look at the newer updates, like New York Post and others, you should see the mugshot of the two, tattoo face, all that, just. And I always go back to, where are the family? Where's the dad? Where's the mom? When you have young people out here, doing things like this, should they be responsible for the actions of these young people? Things of that nature.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's tough. All right. So on a lighter note, let's talk about putting stuff into our brains. And this is, so your selection, Musk's Neuralink to start human trial of brain implant for paralysis patients. So first, for those of us who don't know what Neuralink is at all, may not even know who Elon Musk is, what's this deal with this?
So Elon Musk has been trying to get this Neuralink off the ground. Essentially, they've already done animal testing. It's essentially a chip in your brain where allegedly it's supposed to help paralyze individuals, and it's a company and everything. But the main thing is he wants to be able to, it's called brain computer interface, BCI, and the hope is to enable people to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
that is crazy.
They've already done it with a monkey, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and you can
what is the monkey controlling?
Oh, the Pong game. You know, the yeah, he has like something in his mouth and he's like, it's crazy. Yeah, so they want to do that with humans. The FDA signed off on it, and apparently some independent review board, I kind of guess like an IRB for academics or whatever. I couldn't look up who was the independent review board he's talking about, but that's apparently the trial's going to be about 6 years. And they're saying if he gets through that, then it'll probably take at least a decade before they can do it commercially. But this is not new. Like, I've seen things, you know, to make humans. This is basically called transhumanism. All right, you connecting humans and technology together. You know, Peter Thiel, that whole Silicon Valley ilk out there. This is nothing new or whatever. They've been trying to do this for a while in terms of transhumanism.
Well, let's see. So they are billionaire Elon Musk, Neuralink. So what stage are they at now? They're requesting, or so it got to go ahead to go to trial?
Because they've already done the animal testing. So now they're going to the human trials. They already have participants. I believe, according to the article, Reuters and Elon Musk, they wanted 10 patients for this, but the FDA, I don't think they approved it, but now they're kind of being vague about how many participants are involved with this. All right, because the FDA already felt like it was risky, and there were already some type of complaints about the animal trials that were transpiring, but the FDA still allowed him to do human patients. All right, so I mean, one of the things is he said, "Oh, I want to use this for." Musk had grand ambitions for Neuralink. He says, hey, maybe we can put these chips devices to treat conditions like obesity, autism, depression, and schizophrenia. All right. But obviously there's going to be drawbacks to this. I mean, I've seen things where people could say like, hey, you could put chips in like soldiers' brains that go to war, so when they die, they can have like a black box and you can play what happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when that, so we're in this realm. And that was like NPR, like probably like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I saw that. So Musk is just going along and just getting it done, apparently. So it's going to be interesting in the future.
Well, that's crazy sci-fi. Now you say maybe we all should have black boxes. Every time there's an accident or your mysterious death, you could go and rewind and find out, you know, what happened.
There's a Black Mirror episode like that. I'm serious. This is like season 1. Yeah, have you seen Black Mirror?
I've seen some episodes. I don't remember the one about some type of black box.
Yeah, so go back and check that out. He's rewinding. They have the things that are rewinding. They have black boxes or something like. It's wild. So it's kind of predictive programming, they call it, right? So where you see it on TV and then it plays out in real life. There is a black box episode of that. It's crazy. This is basically what we're facing to a certain degree. So. How do you feel about putting a chip in your brain, though? Is that something that you would be okay with?
You know, let me be honest. It depends what I can get out of it, right?
Wow.
Now, I'm not sure if I want a black box because I don't benefit from it since I'll presumably already be dead.
Well, but your family would, though.
It might be more embarrassing. Who knows? It's like, what was he doing right before the car crash?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He was checking X or something.
This is where we are, though. They said for the family members, yeah. So particularly like soldiers, for the family members, like, hey, not Neuralink, but this is some things like this for the family members, hey, so they can get closer for their family.
There just needs to be a system where, you know, in your dying breath, you could choose to delete the last, you know, minute of your life just in case if it's embarrassing or something.
I guess so, man. I mean, but who has control of the data? You know, can it get hacked and things of that nature? You know, so I'm telling you, this is like cyborg transhumanist type of stuff. And it sounds good on paper. Oh, we can help, you know, with paralysis. We can help with this, whatever. But there's always drawbacks to the technology. That's my question. So you want to look at that.
Well, with that. And then one other downside to the black box. So I could imagine you see something. You're a witness to something, and you know, and then the criminals notice that you've seen them. You're like, I promise. I'm not going to say anything. They're like, we need your black box. And they just have to go pry it out of your brain.
We're going to have to get, dude, I'm telling you, this is something like that, dude. Like that Black Mirror episode is stuff like that. So I can't remember what it is. I'll text you. I was like, man, what is that episode? It's crazy. But they do. You got to rewind the stuff. And they try to erase stuff. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. This is where we are with technology. I kind of talked about this in my, again, not to brag or whatever. I'm just, but with the library speaker series, the more modern we get in terms of technology, there's always going to be drawbacks to these certain. Now, I'm not against technology, but things like this, let me be on record. I would never put a chip in my brain, never allow anybody to put it, if I was paralyzed, fine. Maybe it can help, but there's going to be drawbacks for sure. And with all the technological, hacking and who has the database, I don't think so, dude.
I think a lot of it comes down to, am I putting a chip in my brain to become enhanced? Do I want to raise my IQ or do I have some obvious condition that's clearly preventing me from living a fulfilling life, and then the chip will just make me normal, right? I think most people, if somebody is paralyzed and then they can walk or somebody can see, I think most people will be on board with the chip. And I think, I don't know, what do you think? I mean, if it were purely just people who are ill or disabled, they get chips so that, they're less ill. What would you think about that if that were the only use?
I mean, of course, if that was the only use, I would be for it, like blind can see and, the lame can walk or something like that. But that's just not the reality as far as like the other aspects that can come along with that. But of course, in a utopian or perfect society, if that was just it, then I would be okay with that. It reminds me of, are there going to be any back doors to it?
No.
You see what I'm saying? So it was a case here recently where the FBI raided this house and it was about guns, and they had, I don't know if you heard about that, and the owner, I can't remember what company it was, the owner had it locked in this gun safe, but the FBI asked the gun safe company to give the code, right? And then, so they had a back door to it. It's your personal stuff or whatever, but the company has the ability to backdoor it and open the stuff. So, there's always going to be those backdoor aspects, to that. But just generally speaking, just for blindness and stuff, I would be on board. Of course, who wouldn't be? Especially if you got in a car accident, your mom can't walk, and then, hey, implant this and you can walk. I mean, that would be something that I would be on board with. Yeah.
Now, according to this article, so this specific usage is just what is just in this case, what are they arguing?
Paralysis. Just for, in this case, the trial is going to be for paralysis.
Okay.
So, which is pretty big. I mean, man, if you can cure that, I mean, that's tremendous or whatever. I know people that are in wheelchairs, and I would think that they would give anything to probably walk, right?
Yeah. I mean, so they would probably need FDA approval for every, they have to go down the list of, if somebody has, I don't know, stuttering. Well, you got to go approval to fix stuttering. Yeah. And then all those different conditions.
This one, it says those with paralysis due to cervical spinal cord injury or some amyotrophic, whatever that says, sclerosis, may qualify for the study. So I guess they're just looking at those two specifically. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, you want to at least be careful and say, okay, we got to look at everything. But for this trial specifically, cervical spinal cord injury or the other one, ALS. ALS, there you go, ALS, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, ooh, ALS, okay, that's big.
That is big, yeah, for sure.
And then I see sort of the steps towards, enhanced, quote unquote, enhancements. I think prior to that, the step is going to be, treating people with anxiety, depression, PTSD, right? I think that would be the next sort of step.
That's interesting, because this all interconnects, and I didn't even think what you said, but would you think the pharmaceutical companies would be on board with that? Because they have a lock on all those aspects.
Well, yeah, now it's a competition, right?
Yeah.
Would they cynically be like, oh, no, this is dangerous, we should stick to drugs or something? I wouldn't put it past companies to want to just block competitors, right, for that reason. And so, as usual, what happens is you have two competing interests sort of going to war. And, but as long as companies like Neuralink stand to make a lot of money, then they should have the money to push back against pharmaceuticals. So
what I found interesting is that they said here that even though that there were people that thought the animal trials were having trouble, they felt like that Elon Musk wasn't doing I guess he wasn't being humane with the animals, they still gave him authorization to try it on humans. I don't know how common that is for that to happen with products, but for the FDA, they just got issues or whatever. So I was like, all right, here, just go. That's fine. Is it really safe? I have my issues with the FDA, Food and Drug Administration.
You think they may be too lax in terms of safety?
Yeah, for sure. I think they're overstepping their boundaries in a lot of ways. The FDA, particularly the FDA, and that's coming from out of a court decision that recently just came. But the FDA to me is just careless. I think that it needs to be more time. But that's just me. I'm not a scientist, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be fascinating to see the more sort of the borderline cases of really just enhancements. I mean, you got to imagine people. Is there a way to enhance your IQ or your recall or creativity or music ability? But even then, I mean, nowadays they're pretty restrictive on drugs that people take in order, to enhance themselves. Like, for example, it's commonly known that in like med school and stuff, a lot of students are taking like Adderall and things for focus. And
I've heard of that,
yeah. But I mean, that's a commonplace sort of performance enhancing drug, mental drug, but it's still, not allowed for that purpose, right? So I think we're still pretty cautious when it comes to having medical treatments that are thought of as enhancement, right? I mean, I think maybe we can count on that attitude where I think a lot of people are suspicious of relying on medicine and now chips, for enhancements.
I mean, I just feel like that anytime there's money to be made, there's going to be things that are skirted and kind of hurried. So I think there's money to be made in this Neuralink thing. And obviously there's money to be made in the pharmaceutical industry. So I think that in my mind, that if there's money to be made, then I wouldn't be surprised if they just let it go and, so we can make money on this. All right. And just worry about it later. And without the sake of being too controversial, we see that happening now with certain pharmaceuticals. Like, we don't know how safe it is necessarily long run, but let's put it out anyway, just to make money in the, cause of quote unquote safety. So, it's going to be interesting to look, but they did say it's going to take about 10 years for it to be commercially used. It said it would still potentially take more than a decade for the startup to secure commercial use clearance for it, according to quote unquote experts. So we'll see how well it goes. I'm going to keep my eye on this for sure, 100%. Yeah,
all right. Yeah, there it is right there towards the end. They talk about obesity, autism, depression, and schizophrenia.
And somebody it's just kind of weird to me, particularly things like obesity. I can see the other things, autism, depression, schizophrenia, but obesity is like, just stop eating. But for some people, that's a choice. But, obviously I know people got, personal situations physically. So
yeah, that is interesting. All right, and now we have to move on to the most serious story here, I think. I know nothing. Fortunately, I know very little about Taylor Swift or the NFL. So you're going to all I know is Taylor Swift is a very successful pop star, super rich. I've never even heard about this guy that she's dating. So tell me tell me the gist about this story and why it's important.
All right. Well, that's the thing, it's not very important. But
okay.
But all right, so we know Taylor Swift, Travis, all right, the NFL, all right, is multi-billion-dollar business. All right, Taylor Swift, multi-millionaire, probably one day billionaire, most popular, pop star in the country, in the world. So come to find out, her and Travis Kelce, which is this tight end, he's a football player. He's like two-time Super Bowl.
He's just a tight end. I thought he'd be a quarterback. Okay,
I know. I know. This is
wide receiver, running back, quarterback, but okay, tight end. That's
new.
She's giving hope. She's giving hope to all those people out there.
This is. I can't stress how crazy this story is, man. What's going on, man? So he's a two-time Super Bowl winner, though. He plays with Patrick Mahomes. He's a quarterback. All right, Kansas City Chiefs. So she came to his game this week or whatever, and then like the social media went crazy. Like, oh my gosh, they're dating or whatnot. He's nowhere near her type or whatnot, and it's just like, and Travis Kelce, he's kind of a player, you know, he's kind of been around, so to have her at his game or whatever, that's like his jersey sales like skyrocketed like 400%.
Wow.
The NFL says for the $12 billion NFL, Taylor Swift's presence this early is powerful base. So you got women tuning into the NFL that don't watch football.
Oh,
yeah. Think about this. My wife, she's on social media. She even saw this in her feed on her social media, right? So Taylor Swift, are you a Swiftie?
I am not. I'm not against. I just don't know.
Right.
I'm a Taylor, like agnostic Taylor Swift.
I understand for sure. But the whole point, what I'm saying is like what we're seeing, pop culture's taking over, right? She's transcending just music, and I talked about this where what popular culture with your Kanye West, with your Kendrick Lamar, with Sexy Red, and all these, they're transcending. Beyonce, are you part of the Beehive?
No. So I don't know. Good.
They're transcending like just music genre. Yeah. They're dominating like all other realms of society now. Even in the New York Times, like about a year ago, they had an article, 17 pop culture error during the COVID-19. Taylor Swift was on there or whatnot. So for Taylor Swift to be at a football game or whatnot, NFL, I mean, she's like skyrocketing the landscape of the NFL and of the fan base. All right, even people that don't even care about NFL, they're like, hey, we're gonna go to games just to see if we can get a glimpse of Taylor Swift or whatnot. And after the game, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were seen in the back walking out together, and he rented out like this lavish bar and restaurant in Kansas City for her and his friends, and you see her like hugging on them and stuff like this. Like, this is insane, dude. I mean, it reminds me of Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen.
Oh, wow.
Right? So,
although Taylor Swift is bigger, just in terms of her clout. But wait, okay, first of all, one thing I noticed about this article is that I of course, wanted to see a picture of the guy. So I'm like, all right, is this guy? And then, like, I don't think there's a picture of him, which is funny. That's a nice commentary. It's like, who cares, I guess.
Yep.
But I don't know. Is this guy known to be, like, good looking, something that women swoon over? Or
I mean, look, I don't be looking at guys like
Come on, be confident. You can be confident.
I mean, I guess. I mean, he's not like a ogre or anything like that. But I guess he has like a mustache now or whatever. But it seems like his style previously, just to be real, he dated like this frankly voluptuous African American woman. She's like a model.
Okay.
So for him to go from her to Taylor Swift is like, oh, what's going on? But he's been having some changes. He's been doing Bud Light commercials, Pfizer commercials, and things like this.
Okay.
So people are kind of looking at it like, hey, have you sold out or whatever? And this is your way. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying this is like a perspective. Hey, you're doing Bud Light commercials. You're doing, Pfizer vaccine commercials. Now you get Taylor Swift is the elites giving you things or whatever just so you can sell out Travis Kelce, things this nature. I don't know. Sounds interesting. He makes $14 million a year.
Travis Kelce.
And they say that she, on her tour, the Eras tour, she's making like $13 million a night of her tour. So she's beyond big. She might end up making $1 billion on this tour she's at, which would surpass Elton John's final tour of $930 million. So he's winning though for sure. Travis Kelce, he's winning for sure.
I'm gonna do a Google Trends search for Travis Kelce. Ooh, that's surprising. Okay. When did the gossip about the two of them start?
I kind of started hearing about it, I don't know, maybe a week ago, maybe. I really didn't hear too much of it. I just turned on the NFL and I was watching, she's on ESPN. Oh my gosh, look at Taylor Swift. Maybe about a week ago I kind of heard about it, but it really exploded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He skyrocketed. Okay. So definitely he skyrocketed starting on the 24th. Big skyrocket. He had a little bump on early this month, September 7. I don't know what happened there. Let me go back the last 12 months. Okay, something in wait. Well, he was in the Super Bowl, right?
They just played in the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah. So basically, he had a little bump during the Super Bowl, and then only recently, September, did he sort of explode.
Because last week was the game that she went to. So whatever last week was, what was last Sunday? Last Sunday was what? The 24th. So the 24th is when she came to the game, and she's expected to come to the Sunday night game. Versus the Jets. I believe that's going to be in New York, so that's going to be crazy.
Okay, so Travis Kelce gets a huge bump because of the tie with Taylor Swift. Now, what I'm curious about is, did Taylor Swift get a bump? Taylor Swift. Would he help her get? Let's see. She got a bump too. That's fascinating,
bro. I'm telling you,
that's fascinating.
This is probably the story of the NFL season, because what she's doing, just through pop culture and who she is. I don't listen to Taylor Swift songs. I don't have anything against her. I'm like you, but the Swifties are going crazy right now, right? So they're just losing their minds and whatnot. It says anything she does turns to gold. It says the Swifties can seemingly go to no end. All right. For instance, some have dished out up to $20,000 in quest to attend her record-breaking Eras tour as many times as possible. And again, I said that some people. It says analysts coin a phrase. It says for the revenue bump she was giving the cities that she visited, they call it the T-Swift lift. Oh, you teach. I don't know if you teach economics, right?
Yeah.
So they call it the T-Swift lift. When she goes to these cities for her tour,
that's right.
It brings a bunch of money.
I heard some people speculating that we've managed to stave off a recession because of Taylor Swift and all the spending it's creating. And you know what? Part of me says I need to listen to her music because there's a chance that she's actually good at music. So maybe, because I honestly don't know. I'm sure I must have incidentally listened to her music, but I don't think you'd be that successful and be bad at music, right?
Right. And I think she plays guitar, so I'm not saying she's not talented or anything like that. But I mean, she's making waves. I mean, she's collaborating with like Ice Spice. I don't know if you ever heard of Ice Spice or whatnot. She's allegedly a rapper, but anyway, that's another. I'll let you look that up or whatever. And she was just now at the Grammys, I believe. She went viral, Taylor Swift, for lip singing or like dancing to Lil Wayne's "A Millie" or whatnot. So she was like going hard dancing and stuff. So there's like, man, Taylor Swift's feeling the music. So I don't know what's going on right now in the culture, but all I can say is when you combine the NFL and somebody like Taylor Swift with Travis Kelce, that is. It kind of boggles the mind or whatever. Like, so social media's been running rampant. I'm curious to see how that's going to end, because people are like, oh, she's better than him or whatever. It's like, why is this dude? It doesn't even make sense. Travis Kelce, like, dude, it's like obviously he's a great athlete, but he's like some jock. Like,
he wasn't that much more. I mean, before Taylor Swift, was he kind of famous?
Oh, he was for sure famous, particularly in the NFL world. But now But
was he famous kind of outside of
I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no.
Okay.
Not famous in the sense that you will recognize him. But now obviously he's probably more recognizable. But if you're an NFL person, you would know who he is. But now he's in commercials. Like I'm saying, like her recently Bud Light commercial and recent a Pfizer commercial. So you probably, I've seen that commercial before, and you will recognize him. Yeah. Was
he in that commercial before Taylor Swift?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Just barely. All this kind of came on the scene here recently. The Bud Light commercial, Pfizer commercial, and him being with Taylor Swift, right? So,
what's the internet saying about this? What's the internet take on this?
From what I understand, like, people can't see, they think that she's better than him, like he doesn't deserve her.
Okay.
Right? And his ex, Travis Kelce ex, came out and not surprisingly kind of bashed him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of considered like this playboy type. All right. And it was some things that he said, and again, I'm just kind of filling you in. Some things that he said before about, hey, what type of chick he would only date, and if she didn't do certain things, then he wouldn't date her. All right. So I was like, all right, what is Taylor Swift doing? Now, I'm just saying, I'm not saying I agree with that, but he seems like kind of like a sleazeball as far as like women. So and then I sent you that article where they're in the bar and she's like holding on to him and stuff. Like apparently they're a thing. So again, I don't really care. Whatever. I'm sure she's a good looking lady. She's fine. Whatever. But I'm curious to see what this Sunday's gonna bring when they're in New York, and if she goes. And they're saying like, oh well, if she goes to the playoffs, Chiefs are going to the playoffs, but if they go to the playoffs and she's attending the game, that can bring up tickets. Why not? So what I'm saying is it's a money generating thing, just her presence there. I mean, you combine the NFL and Taylor Swift. I mean, that's.
Would you? Okay, now, but this is where I wanted to go. Do you think that there's a chance that this whole thing is a publicity stunt by maybe NFL, or what do you think? I mean,
I wouldn't put it past NFL for doing anything. I would argue it's more perhaps the powers to be. Who are the powers to be? I don't know, because once Travis Kelce, quote unquote, sold out and started doing these commercials, all of a sudden now you're connected to Taylor Swift. All right, so it's like, oh, hey, the industry, if you will, is giving you certain things to quote unquote sell out. That's one of the predominating thought processes online. All right, others just feel like that Taylor Swift is just a sweet girl. She's a girly girl. And I saw USA Today was like, oh, why we shouldn't say girly girl or whatever. It's whatever, but. Oh, sweet old little Taylor Swift. She's with this football player or whatever. Because the guys she used to date are like scrawny and like some knuckleheads. Now you get with this jock, this beefhead. It just doesn't make sense to me, dude. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean that is.
And the NFL wanted her for the Super Bowl, but she turned it down. So now they got she turned it down. They wouldn't even let. Taylor Swift wouldn't even let the NFL play her songs during the commercials when she was there last week. So it's kind of weird. She wouldn't do the Super Bowl halftime show, and she wouldn't allow them to use her songs for the commercials or whatever last week.
When did she start turning down the NFL? What's the timeline?
Well, I think recently the NFL announced that Usher was going to be the halftime guy person, but I think they had asked her maybe, I don't know, hypothetically 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. So
were they planning for next year? Or was this for this past Super Bowl?
I think it's for this year. They wanted her for this year. Coming up, the Super Bowl's played in February. So 2024. I think they wanted her for this Super Bowl, but she turned it down.
Okay.
And she also didn't let them use her music for recently for commercials. So I don't know. And then she's connected to Travis Kelce. All right, it's just something just doesn't add up to me. Maybe they do let me stop being cynical. Maybe they do like each other. Maybe they'll get married. You think they'll get married?
Oh God! Well, see, I was about to say, were they seen kissing in public? Because now you got. I mean, like, all right. Let's say, suppose this is a marketing scheme. How far would Taylor Swift be willing to go? Now, I don't know her, but I would say. Maybe she would say, okay, put her arm around his and stuff like that and just be seen around and get some stuff. But would she, like, make out with the guy, just as a marketing thing? I mean, I don't know.
Does she need the marketing? She's Taylor Swift.
What does she get out of this aside from maybe even more money? I would say that the NFL has more to gain because they get this untapped audience that they could draw in, young females, I assume, into the NFL. That would be huge, right? That's brilliant. What would she get out of it? I don't know if like more guys would be into listening to her music. I don't know.
You know what? Come to think of it, all right, so it makes sense. All right, let's put our tinfoil hats on.
All right, sure.
Because the NFL is already having trouble with moms not allowing their kids.
I was just about to ask because I was thinking about how that's going in terms, because I know that's a rising concern. So I was wondering, is the NFL are they in an interesting spot?
Dude, you're on. You know what? You're a smart dude because that's why I like talking to you, right? Because when you look at the article, it also said that the league, talking about the NFL, edited its bio on X, the social media platform, to read, quote, NFL Taylor's version, and change its banner photo to one of Swift's clad in Chiefs gear. So basically the NFL is like, they're catering to this whole situation, right? So I could see the NFL like catering to this because that's going to bring women in because that'll help their product overall to allow women to be like, yeah, I'll let my son play football. You see what I'm saying? Because right now there's a decline in women allowing their sons to play football because they say it's dangerous. Dude, you're on point, dude. No, seriously, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wish we could see what the truth is. You know, I mean, you know, maybe they do just are really into each other, and then the NFL is just capitalizing on what was there.
That could definitely be it too. So we'll see Sunday if she's there and how long this will last. But she's supposed to be going to this game this Sunday at the Jets, and so that's in New York. So that's pretty big. I'm curious to see what it's going to be like with that. So you should just tune in just to see if she's there.
I'll be one of those people who they get the extra bump up because they want to know if Taylor Swift is there.
So the Swifties are going wild out there right now, man. The Swifties, man. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
All right. So if I played outro music on this, I would have to play some Taylor Swift music, but then I would get a copyright strike.
Copyright strike, yeah.
Maybe you could hum one of her songs.
I wouldn't even know any of her songs.
Liar. Let me check your phone.
I don't even know any of her songs. That's the thing. I probably heard them before, but I definitely couldn't hum it for sure. I have no idea.
All right, Ron. That was a good discussion. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, always, man.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.